And I'm an instructional coach now. I was a fourth grade teacher in Akron at Harris Jackson. I may have seen some of you there. And now I'm I was a gifted intervention specialist for 3 years, and now I'm a coach. So some people say I can't hold a job. So I don't know if that's true, but oops, meet attendance. Okay, so hopefully that'll work. So I'm taking attendance. I'm recording. It seems to be recording now. And I'll go over a few norms. And I'm going to share my screen. So here we go. Somewhere. I told folks that were here earlier, I've got a new setup. So I'm kind of like Shannon, Greg, thank you. Shannon's from Findlay, I think. Shannon's going to kind of be my helper today. She was drafted on because she came on early for me. So Shannon, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. So now can you see my slideshow? No, you can't. Can you?
Yeah, I can see where it says Google Arts and Culture. It's not in the present mode, but I can see it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Because the setup is new for me. I added an external monitor. So hopefully I don't get into Findlay was my first assignment. Oh.
Looks
all right,
great.
so you are in Google Arts and Culture, and I threw 301 on there, Google 301, because it kind of is. And I'm going to go a little bit fast, and I apologize. Marcy added these later because as Shannon and I were talking, there wasn't a lot for upper level Google users on our trainings. So I said, hey, I already had these two trainings made for coaches. And so can we just throw those in? So thank you for coming. And I saw some gifted intervention specialists on this call, which is good. I guess most of us seem to be elementary, but hopefully we have some middle and high on here. And our goal today, well, I'm going to go over our goals in a minute, but is to look at lesson design, integrating it with some Google tools. So if your comfort level is not at 301, that's okay. If you see something that you want to know how to do, I can help you with that, but I can't help you in the 55 minutes we have here. And Shannon, if you can also be my timekeeper, I should be pretty good on time, but I'm going to set a time. So thanks for coming. If you're in the right place, stay. If you got to go somewhere else, it's okay. So why is it not advancing? There we go. Our district focus, and I really do believe in this, we can be the #1 urban school system in the United States, as evidenced by our preparedness for COVID-19. When that hit and we're one to world, we're ready to go. Now, I know that not everybody was up to where they needed to be student-wise and maybe teacher knowledge-wise, but we were much better positioned. Someone wants to join the meeting. Okay. Much better positioned than some school districts. Pulled out from the district focus, we're going to be talking about rigorous teaching and learning, because I'm also going to talk about lesson design and certainly differentiated instruction and certainly learning conditions, making a whole new learning condition safe learning centers for our students. So these are our learning targets today. And while I go over these, I want you to think what your learning target is today. What is your learning target? And hopefully you have some sort of notebook or jot on a piece of paper or on your desk or something. What is your learning target for today? And that kind of helps us to focus our own thinking and say, hey, I have to do these things. I don't know. I thought this might be cool because arts and culture, that sounds cool. But what is your real focus? And so hopefully I hope it'll be one of these 2 or 3 things. We're going to explore Google Arts and Culture as a site, as a grown-up, as a cool thing to be a grown-up and say, hey, this is out there, but also consider lessons and that lesson design and projects that will allow students to meet their curricular goals, to read, to write, to research, to synthesize, to come up with opinions, to make cross connections, to connect things to themselves and the world. I didn't put all that on there, but you get the idea. And our goal, my goal for you is you're going to create something, you're going to start something, you're going to make something today that will help you say later, when you go back to it, you'll say, hey, I'm going to finish that Google Arts and Culture thing, and I can give that to kids to do in center time, or I can give that to kids in middle school to work on a project in a different way than they've done before. So those are my goals for you today. And you can think about your own goal. And again, if I'm going too fast, I apologize. People that I right now are going to tell you she talks fast. And we only have 50 minutes. So I will entertain questions about slide 5. So if I'm ignoring the chat right now, that's what I got to do. But I'll look over it on slide 5 when you guys are working, and I'll just interject as we go along. So that's
Shannon,
kind
are
of
you going to share the slides? Someone's asking about if you can share the presentation.
Yes. Shannon, could you do that for me? So what you'd need to do is copy the URL link and throw it in the chat. Can you do that, or do you want me to stop and do it?
Do I have it?
You might not. Well, it was on the, let me exit. Thank you for asking. I'll do it. I promised you I was going to do it, and then I didn't do it. Thank you, because you will need them. So throw it in the chat. So here's the slideshow. It was also on the materials document on the Whova app. Can somebody give me thumbs up if you see that URL? And somebody click on it and see if you have access before we move on.
It says you need access.
People in APS should get it.
I wasn't able to.
No, it's asking for access for me too, Janet.
Huh. Well, isn't that funny? It says anyone in APS can view. Let me open it to everybody because I know
It worked for me.
It worked for me too.
it might have been too many people hitting it at one time. All right, I just updated the share setting because I know some people are on their private email right now.
Works.
That works now.
How
Thank
we
you.
doing? All right, there it is again in case anybody that, thanks Lackney. How are you doing, Annie?
I'm good.
I'm excited to see you.
Well, you know I'm signing up for all your sessions. So.
Well, I think you're going to like this one an awful lot. And you guys have 6th grade over there, don't you?
No, not anymore.
Oh, okay.
I have 5th graders though.
Okay. This is nice for 3, 4, 5. If you're going to use it K to 2, it would be a teacher created thing, I would think. But I think 3rd through 5th graders will be able to do this. All right. May I proceed? Thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. And you can see it again, Shannon. Good. Okay. So a lot of you folks are in buildings that are doing teacher clarity work with Fisher and Fry and John Hattie's work. And this is one of my favorite and thoughts from them. And it's from Teacher Clarity Playbook slides. I think it's on module 1 or 2. Every student deserves a great teacher, not by chance, but by design. And there's a lot in that. If I were to ask you to pick out your favorite word or think about what that means to you, my question for you to think about, and if we had a smaller group, we'd share through a doc or a Jamboard or something. What is it that made you a great teacher before COVID-19, before March 13? What made you a great teacher? If you want to throw a word in the chat, you can. Were you collaborative? Were you caring? What were the things you did that made you a great teacher? Connections, relationships, and all of those things. You were a creative. Maybe you were a great lesson planner. Maybe you engaged students. Maybe you challenged students. Maybe you were a good questioner, right? So now I'm going to challenge you to take that. Students will remember your lessons years later. Isn't that fun? And oftentimes they were the ones that you felt just extra, weren't they? And those are the ones they remember. I'm going to challenge you to rethink that now and say to yourself through this presentation, how can I be a great teacher online, virtually, remotely? I want to be the best great teacher I was before March 13th, post March 13th. And I know that you all have been thinking about that, and you probably, it does worry me a little when folks say, oh, that teaching we did in the spring, I don't know. I don't know about you, but Rolando Pizzagna and I worked pretty darn hard in the spring, right? So I was teaching authentically, and I know you probably were as well. So we're going to talk about lesson design a little bit. When I'm done talking, I want you to click on this, and I'll show you how to do it in case we have folks that aren't quite as savvy. And this is called a hyperdoc. I am not going to teach you all about hyperdocs today. I did put some resources at the end. But what I like about hyperdocs is they give you a lesson flow. They give you the engagement, the explore, the explain, the apply, the apply being like what the kids are going to do on their own that I can grade, right? That's the thing we know about. And then they have a reflection or an evaluation piece at the end. Kate Tucker also has the 5 E's you may have. So what I'd like you to do, because this is a working session today, we're going to click on, hopefully everybody has access to this slideshow, and it is on slide 5 on this hyperdoc, because this is going to be your workplace. You'll see that it comes up, it says make a copy. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll adjust something. Then you're going to make a copy and you will be left with this, and it has a whole lot of writing on it. And mine's just spinning because there's so many things on here. So I'm going to actually just let that go. There it comes. And do you see it says copy of a hyperdoc lesson plan template? I want you to click in that title after yours loads, and it may take a few moments because there's so many people pulling at the same time. And I want you to put your take off copy of a copy if you click in that box like so. And I want you to just backspace and put, I'm going to put Hazlet 1 because this is the first time I'm using it today. And then if you click away, you'll see that that's yours now. If you want to organize it in your drive, you would do so here. I'm not going to get into that right now because, again, this is supposed to be like more advanced users. If you're having trouble with this, ask your coach. They'll help you move it. Then where it says lesson title, you can put anything you want there. You don't have to put anything. You can put Google Arts and Culture, whatever you want to put there. You can take this off of there. You can leave it on. It doesn't matter. But I just wanted you to see, this is a placeholder. All a hyperdoc is a placeholder for your lesson elements. So where it says engage, you can leave that or you can change it. If you don't like that word, you can change it. But you're just going to take this out today, take the words out if you want, or you can leave them there. It doesn't matter. And you can just type your own thing in there, whatever you want. If you don't want to use this template and she's going too fast and you don't get it, you can go 20th century. Just write it on here, okay? It's fine. But I can't bog down and spend a lot of time on this because our exciting thing is going to be on slide 6. So in a minute, I'm going to entertain questions in the chat. If you're really stuck, I don't want to leave you out in the cold. But if you go to slide 6, this is the meat of our presentation today. How are we doing on time? Pretty good. This is a hyperdoc I made for a presentation, and I like hyperdocs for presentations a lot more than slides because I think sometimes we are slided to death, aren't we? How many slideshows did you see yesterday? 4, right? 5, maybe if you were in your building based, maybe if 6 if you were in collaboration, right? So sometimes I think we just get done to death. So I wish that I could just be in a room with you and we were just looking at this. So if you care about what my objectives are for today, I have a link here to the purpose of my presentation today. So it was what I would do for kids. A lot of us are doing teacher clarity work. I would put learning intentions here, success criteria, whatever. But did you notice it was a link? It wasn't messing up my whole document. So my purpose is to engage you in thoughtful ideas that you can use with Google Arts and Culture, but keep the standards front and center. So my example today is 4th grade ELA, but it also crosswalks to art, social studies, and math. IB connections like crazy. When you get into the site, if you've never been to Google Arts and Culture, it's crazy how many connections there's going to be. I just put the standard for right opinion pieces from the Ohio Learning Standards, OLS. Then I put curriculum, our benchmark curriculum. Here's this is actually from Unit 9, Week 1, distinguish facts from opinions. You wouldn't have to focus on that. Here's a persuasive letter. You could talk about that. And then I put some resources for art critiques because what my goal is today for the 4th graders would be to write an opinion piece based on something they found in Google Arts and Culture. If you are into that, you can certainly look at that. I'm going to try this. So Shannon, Greg, are there 90 people in here now? Do you know?
No, we're only at 38.
38. So people left? You mean I upset that many people? That's okay. The cream of the crop is left because they didn't want to work. They wanted to sit. So we're going to try this. Don't do it yet. Let me just model it for you. And then I want you to do it. Here is my engagement questions like I would do with kids. In a minute, you're going to open this document. And I'm going to tell you maybe where to write so we're not all writing in the same spot. Here's my engagement question. I know I have some art teachers and music teachers on here, so this is going to be great. Is art important to society? Why or why not? So this is a shared document, so you can't do this the first day of class. You got to teach kids how to do this, how to play nice in the document. I'm going to click on an empty line, and I'm going to write my name on the left and my answer on the right. Okay? So please don't erase somebody else's. Please don't use these go back buttons. Vora's CLC likes to use those go back buttons a lot. Don't do that. If you mess up, just pick another box. There's like 60 boxes on here. So I'm going to call you out by grade level maybe. Or no, I know what I was going to do. Hang on. It was going to be ABC order. So there are 6 pages here. If you see that, you could slide down. There are 6 pages on this doc. So on page 1, if we could have the folks whose last names begin with A to D, last names A to D, it's not anywhere on there. And this is kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. These are guidelines, not rules. So the next page, page 2, somewhere on page 2, E to H, somewhere on page 3, I to L, somewhere on page 4, M to P. You get the idea. Q to U on page 5, and the rest of us V to Z on page 6. So somewhere on there, don't write on top of somebody. Answer the question. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes. I'm going to look at the chat while you guys do that. And if you want to unmute and read your answer, feel free. Okay, I think we're caught up. Sweet. They said it couldn't be done, but it can. Can you guys get in or no? Okay. I think it's just having a hard time up. Don't write on top of Christy. Morgan Kelly, I would say close the doc and then try to reopen it, Morgan. But I can see that the share setting's right because some people are getting it. Kurt Cruz has left the meeting. Huh. That Kurt. How do you get that is the slide presentation. I'll put it in the chat again, you guys. So some of you that came later, you might have missed it on the chat. So I'll put the slide presentation in the chat. You also have access to a PDF of the slides in the materials on the Whova app. All right, so Gina, there it is. Can you see it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go back here. Oops, I'm going to go back here. What is art? All right, we're getting some arts. Is it glitchy for you guys? Chelsea Miller has a lot written. Thank you, Chelsea. Shannon, may I read yours, Shannon? Why don't you read it?
Okay. I said, yes, art is important because it is all around us. In addition, most of our schools have students from all over, and we need to be representing their culture. And a great way to do this is through art.
Oh, thank you. I know all of you folks that are glitchy would just give a thumbs up to Shannon because I know we're all probably feeling that. So here's what I'm going to say. If it's glitchy and you're frustrated, don't worry about it. I just wanted you to see this process of using the shared doc for communication. So I wish I had time to shout out all of yours. If anybody has something they want to unmute and just share with the class, please do about this process. Have you done it with kids? Shared doc like this? So this is just a Google document. Insert a table. Sometimes you could put their names on it already. If you already had your kids in the class, and then that would cut down on your writing in my box. Okay. Okay, and then some of you down here, maybe down here, the lower you get, it's harder to write. I don't know. I like Pisanya's changing attitudes, right? Values, translating them. Perfect. Annie, is this you? Serves as a mirror to society, self-expression. All right, so we could go on that for a lot. If you want to join back looking, if you want to finish, that's fine. I linked this to a document that I actually did with kids, and I believe they were in 4th grade when they did this. Now you're going to say, you taught gifted kids, but I'm going to tell you, not all of them were at the same level in writing. So this gal here, Kiana, surprised me because she loved to draw. She loved art and everything. And she said, I think art is not important, and here is why. So that was a great conversation. So I think she was thinking that she didn't see the connection because she was a 3rd or 4th grader. But down here, I have James, who struggled. And even though he was identified and gifted, it was a challenge for him. He wasn't a great writer. He said, art is important to society because art can tell a story and show things people never seen or heard about. Paintings can describe a world no one's seen. So even though it was a struggle for him to get those 2 sentences on the paper, his voice is heard. And that's the exciting thing about digital education is you can find ways to hear the voice of those kids you never hear in the classroom. So I would charge you and challenge you to do an SEL question or something where you can hear from everybody every day. So that's just a little aside. I got to get moving. So if you can get off of those documents and come back and look at the share screen, that's the engaging part. That's how you could engage the students. The next step in the lesson design is explore. And this is something that the kids could do on their own. I'm not going to go into Edpuzzle, how to do it, whatever. But what this is a slideshow I had made a long time ago. And I put it up and uploaded it on Edpuzzle, and I put the questions in there. So you can look at that on your own. And then this is a little trick under the challenge. If you put bonus challenge, you know where all the kids are going to go first? They're going to go to the bonus challenge. I'm not going to open this right now because it is from the site. It is super cool. So I'd like to know the art teachers' opinions on here. What do you think about this? They've taken a classic work of a painting and they have digitized it, and it kind of fills in and it does. It's just amazing. To me, as a 20th century person, I find it a little disconcerting, but I think our kids would love it. And then I linked a Jamboard here that you could have them add their opinion on. I'm going to move down to the explain. I know I'm going fast, but most of your time is going to be spent in the Google Arts and Culture. This I put in here. If you're interested in the lesson design and how that crosswalks to ELA, you could open this. So some of this you could do whole group. Some of it you would do on their own. This is a link to a benchmark book about Frida Kahlo, who was married to, what's his name? Diego Rivera. There's a shared document where I asked them to do what you just did on one fact that spoke to them. Here is the art analysis form, which is really the opinion writing piece. So anytime a kid is analyzing a piece of art or music, and I'm singing to the choir here, they are doing opinion writing, right? And I included a 4-step art critique, but I'm betting that you guys have better ones than is on here. So please open this at your leisure. I know I'm scooting through pretty quickly. This is for our work today. This is the lion's share of our work as you scroll down. In a minute, you're going to open this Google Arts and Culture site. And this is where you're going to use the document that you made. Remember a little bit ago, you made a document that looks like this, and you can use it for taking your notes. Or you can just write them on the paper. I'm not collecting it. It's not going to be graded. But I just thought you might like that format to use. When you get on, how many people have been to the Google Arts and Culture site? Yes? No? Maybe so? Everybody? No. Okay. John has not. How many people love the Google Arts and Culture site, right? Maybe? No? Okay. All right. And you can tell me why, because it does have limitations, right? It does have limitations. We'll talk about those at the end. So when you click on this link, I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. And I want you to do these bullet pointed things. And you can use your templates to take notes if you want, or use them on your paper. I want you to find at least 3 museums. I want you to find 360 views. That's where you're looking all around. And it's pretty cool if you've never done it. You can do it on a Chromebook. Our kids can do it on a Chromebook, and it's life-changing. You can visit a cultural site. You can search a work of art by name. So like if you want to search Starry Night, search it by Starry Night. If you want to search Vincent van Gogh, do it that way. But also, some people miss the cultural side of Google Arts and Culture. Visit a cultural site, like the Statue of Liberty is really cool. There are historical eras. Find the National Park 360 tours. Those are amazing. And what else? The other things here in this supply section are for you for later. There's a EdTech video on how to use it. There's directions for the opinion essay and so forth. Are there any questions before I see you in 15 minutes? Feel free to unmute and ask.
Janet, you just want us to look through those things or take notes or both?
You can do whatever. Your mind is going to be blown. So I'd like you to do all those things and take some notes on what speaks to you. Or more importantly, Chelsea, how could you use this with kids?
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. 15. Go for it. I think I might put on some Eric Clapton. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it.
Grammarly helps make your writing clear and concise, no matter where you are. Compose a cup.
This song says, no matter who you are, no matter where you go in your life, at some point you're going to need somebody to stand by you. Oh yeah, oh my darling, stand by me. No matter who you are, no matter where you go in life, you gon' need somebody to stand by you. No matter how much money you got, all the friends you got, you gon' need somebody to stand by you. When the night has come and the land is dark and that moon is the only light we see. Though I won't be afraid, though I won't, she won't be just as long as the people of this land are here. And darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Come on, stand by me. Yeah. Oh, well, that's that we look upon. Well, since I'm not on the mountains, they should come over to the sea. I won't try stand. Stay by me. Stay by me. Thank you, thank you.
So you have about 2 more official minutes, but I do see some people's minds being blown, right? If you have never seen it before. And even if you have, I mean, I find something, when I clicked on it last night and I saw those 3D ants on there or whatever, crustaceans or something, it was mind blowing. And what's cool about it is we can't afford to buy AI goggles for all our kids, but these 360 pictures and where they can manipulate that as if they were in AI, artificial intelligence, is really something. Lots of people putting stuff in the chat that they like. Please continue to do that now. This is our sharing time. So I would love for some people to volunteer and unmute. Don't forget to take some notes in your notebook or on your slot, on your doc, because you're gonna forget, and I don't want you to forget because it's pretty exciting. So Annie, there's floaties hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, it was a really cool exhibit I found.
Cool. Anybody else find something? Anybody find the national park tours?
I went and looked at a couple of the 360 things at some parks that I've been to just to make a comparison. So I looked at Bryce Canyon on horseback, which was really cool. And I looked at Kenai Ford in Alaska on kayak. And that was really interesting because that's things that a lot of things that our kids can't do. So it was kind of neat for them to get that different viewpoint.
What, isn't that mind blowing? Can we take some time?
Cool. I also did
time somewhere to do that, right?
underwater thing, you know, that has a lot of tropical fish.
Uh-huh.
I mean, how often can you give kids the experience to actually be underwater without swimming there? So that was pretty cool.
Right. So because we don't have a lot of time with them, we might challenge them outside of the time that they're with us engaged online with a hyperdoc thing or some other thing. ask them 3 questions. Say you're taking a trip tonight to Bryce Canyon and I want you to find 3 things up, whatever. The 360 models are exciting. Anybody else see something and made a connection to academics? What could we do with this?
Well, we did a mirror project at our school. And so in preparation for that, we did some mirror type works with portraits and things like that. But I found the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art in Korea, and it had a 360 view of the room of mirrors. And
Oh my gosh.
and that would have been really great for me to add with that. And I intend on continuing the mirror project because it was actually very positive for us. So I'm going to add this to it. But the thing that I liked about it is, you know, our kids, I'm at Glover and David Hill, they don't have the experiences that, you know, Jessica and Anne have to go to these places and do these things. So it's really exciting for them to see it in this real view because, you know, in years past, we only had pictures to show them and they can't get a grasp on how large things are or what the spatial relationship is. And this was.
Oh, Jody, I lost you. Can anybody else hear? But you're so right. Oh, she's back. She's back. Thanks, Jody. That's so awesome. Jody, you can also go to Versailles. That's one of the tours. So you can stand in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles and do and turn around. So that's really cool. That could be added to your field trips or whatever you want to call them. Is she frozen again? Oh, Jody, thanks for sharing. Anybody else? An academic connection? Just cool. Use it for SEL.
Charles Landry.
Hi, Charles.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. The first story we do is called Road Wave. And I always try and give the students a feel for getting on a sailboat. There was a young lady, I forgot her name, Abby Sunderland. She tried to sail around, I think she tried to sail around the world or go across the Atlantic or something like that. But many students, when I surveyed the students who's been on a sailboat or on water or boat, anything, most of them say no. So I always try and give them some kind of lesson dealing with the different terms for being on a boat, aft, starboard, all that stuff. But I'm sure it would be great if I could find some kind of 360 or one of those 360 or videos or something from that website that would give you a sense of actually being on a sailboat where you have to do the tackle. Usually I show YouTube videos of that kind of activity.
Right. And I'm sure that there is massive museums up there. I'm sure they have some of it from them. Also, I know that there's national parks. If you search the Channel Islands, I believe you're on a boat on one of those. It's just very powerful. Wouldn't that be? I mean, it's like they're there. And also, if you give them one of those still pictures, they can go around and look at the different parts of it on their own too. So very powerful. Yes. Anybody else? Unmute. Let me hear it. Some people are putting some stuff in that. Let me open. Oops. Yeah. The activity book further down the websites. Oh, you can do Van Gogh things. Is it interactive, Morgan? Or is it you got to print it out?
The one big thing that you can download that you have to print out, but the other one is like an experiment, like the one that you can do interactive.
Cool. So, and there's like, I think there's a whole Van Gogh page. Isn't there like a whole, I mean, if you search just him, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. And they have like a bunch of spectrum of colors at the bottom and you can just do the click and color thing. Cool.
Amy, when I searched for a historical event, the page was full of pictures, right? And there's timelines too, Amy. That thing is so, now I want you to start thinking critically now. It is very cool, but when you get in there and you start planning lessons, sometimes it's thin. So if you are a higher grade teacher or a high school teacher, you're going to say this is a great starting point. But if you really want to get into the meat of the Civil War, this is not going to do it. It's not going to do it. It's going to give you a starting point. So there are some limitations, and you'll find them after you get over how cool it is. Because when you start lesson planning, you have to go to other sources as well. But it's very engaging for sure. All right, we have almost, it's 9:47. And I hate to drag you away from what you're doing, but if you could do this for me, and then you can jump back with the rest of your time or ask me some questions, specifically what I went too fast on the slideshow on slide 7. And we're going to try it with 38 people. Should be no problem. You're going to click on the Padlet. And when the Padlet comes up, if you've never used it, you're going to go here and then click right on that URL. The question is on the Padlet, and I'll model this for you, so don't anybody start yet. In what lessons could you incorporate Google Arts and Culture to engage learners? You're going to click here where it says plus. You're going to get a little box. You're going to type something, and then you click away, and that's how you post it. Okay? So Shannon Gregg's writing. Janet Hazlett is going to delete hers. If you don't like it, you can delete it and just say okay. All right? Shannon's showing us how to do it there. All right. And what's going to happen is the size of these are going to shrink a little when everybody hops on. So if you wouldn't mind adding a post-it, it might help other people activate their thinking. And I just like having it, watching it. It's going to be jerky when we all hop on there. All right, I'm going to go back here and see what else people are saying. Opera House, Heritage Museum of Cowboys. I made your weekend, Jessica, no charge. Gango, we talked about. Oh, Frida Kahlo's diary, really? Is it on that Google Arts and Culture? Because I'm into Frida. Space Shuttle, that's good for Kate Crossy. Awesome. And the Mars rover videos are there. Sweet. Assisted melody at a glance looks cool. I don't know what that is. That sounds interesting. Just went to a PD where they promoted teasers to try to get the kids to come back online. Yep, absolutely, Katie. So there you go. And then people are kind of sharing on the Padlet, so we're getting more of the same. I hope you see how powerful this could be with writing, because one of my passions is making these kids excellent writers. If they are excited, they will write. If they get something down on paper, then we can start showing them the process and how to edit and do those things. But I believe getting them engaged first is going to be the key, especially online, like Katie Fife said. So the Padlet link is on slide, anybody know? 7. Also, I put a bonus track at the end because I know we got music teachers here. So slide 9 is your bonus tracks. If you want to learn more about HyperDocs, I put the link to the website of the people who wrote the book. And I also put a template here of Kate Tucker. She is another great resource that's emerging now for online instruction. And this is the template that kind of her HyperDoc of the engage. She calls it 5 E's. I think she says elaborate and evaluate. So she could make it the 5 E's. So you have access to all of that. I recommend you add, let me say this very clearly. So take a pause. If you want to keep this PowerPoint, you need to go slideshow, go right up to the top where it has got add to my drive up there and add it to your drive. Because otherwise you can email me, I'll send it to you anytime. But if you add it to your drive right now, you'll have it. I also have it as a PDF on the resources page for the conference. So if you have to go, you can go. You have 9 minutes to get to the restroom and get some coffee. If you want to stay and chat, I will chat. Thank you guys for your kind words. And I hope that you felt that it wasn't too fast, but I wanted most of your time to be in the site because it is mind-blowing. Please tell all your friends. You're welcome, everybody. Have an excellent weekend. And I hope you have something to be excited about now because it's pretty exciting. So see y'all.
Janet.
Yes.
Yeah, the Frida's diary.
Yeah.
I mean, she has like a drawing and like that pertains to each like meaningful thing that happened to her. And she talks about her childhood polio and how it's affected her life. And then the piece of art was just phenomenal. I mean, it's
that is
unbelievable.
amazing. And I don't know what grade you teach, but down in Little Kid Land, we have biographies. Yeah, right? Could you use that in biographies?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Personal narrative, right? All of
Right.
that.
Yep. Yep.
And plus her cross-cultural Mexico, I think is right.
Yes,
Her
exactly.
culture.
Well,
Yeah.
I've been at this for 35 and a half years, so I've learned a few things on how to incorporate
Awesome.
cross-curricular.
Awesome. Well, I hope you add to your toolkit and you enjoy it. So
I definitely will. Thank
Can
you.
it? Oh,
Yes.
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, John.
Yes, Jess.
Where's the interactive stuff at?
I don't know an easy answer to that question.
Just look.
You just got to look, because I'm going to tell you too, Jessica, when you find something, you need to nab that link and save it, because it's hard to re-find it. I should have said
I was
that.
just writing stuff down. It's like, I feel like you could get lost in there.
Yes.
And never find your way back. So
right. So you have to have a purpose, right? When
Yeah. I found an artist on there who I'd never heard of before at a gallery in Vancouver.
What?
It's crazy. And it was really cool. There was pictures that were like yearbook pictures of kids, adolescents, and it just had paint dripped down their face.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. So
I would love to ask, I'd love to show that as just a warm up. Just show that picture and ask them if they think that's art.
Yeah.
You think that's art, or because that is the best conversation. I was going to show these two things. Oops. I have this mug, right? And I have this mug right here.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference? Right?
There is one.
Well, or is this one pretty? So they're going to say this is prettier or strange or odd, because it's just going to activate that conversation, right?
Right. It is a good starter. It's definitely a conversation starter. Thank you so much. It's definitely something that you could put on and say, hey, we're going to go to Egypt from our couch today. Make sure you join me. And then you get to see 360 view of whatever. So thank you for giving me one more thing to get these kids engaged. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. We still got a couple people here. Stephanie?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, maybe I could a quick chat since we're running out of minutes. But I guess I just I'm stepping in to start the school year as the long-term art sub, but they're looking to fill it, and this is a lot.
It is too much.
I know that I'm stepping in. I ended the school year at Kenmore Garfield. It was a whole different thing than elementary.
Right.
I'm like, it's like the wheel is spinning a million miles an hour. I'm trying to jump in to get a start, but it's all still coming in. And I just want to like start and not overdo it, because it's just a start. And
yes.
I guess to walk through that, to get a little more grounded would be helpful to be, but not maybe in this moment, but that would be helpful.
And what school did you say you're at, Stephanie?
It's a split between Robinson and Forest Hill.
Okay.
And my background's art education, so that part isn't the challenge, but to take that, put it in this context, start with these little people on these screens is freaking me out a bit.
Right. So, well, first of all, germane to this presentation is I would not do anything big. I would just take a chunk or a snapshot or a snip and use that for conversation. I wouldn't go on a big field trip to the Metropolitan Museum of Art because they're not there yet. But I would say that you have excellent coach resources at both schools, and I know both ladies would be happy to help you, although Christy might be on maternity leave at Forest Hill. I'm trying to think of who their coach is. I think
the coach's role is?
The coach's role is to support you as an educator. So that's what I do. I teach teachers. So you said Forest Hill, and what was the other one?
Robinson.
That's Amy Kosek, Kosek. So you could reach out to Amy and introduce yourself and say, I'm just looking for a bridge or whatever. And you're welcome to email me at any time, and I can hook you up with some resources that might help you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just said I wrote your name down, and I'll be able to find your email.
All right. And Annie Lackney would be happy to help you. She was on this call. She was the one excited about things falling from the ceiling. And she was one of my best friends of my son. So I know Annie for a long time. But she is an art teacher at Helen
Arnold.
Helen Arnold, thank you. So she would be happy to help. If you want to reach out to her, I know she wouldn't mind, Stephanie.
Okay. What's
Okay.
the name again?
Annie, last
Annie.
name Lackney, Lackney.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Take care, Stephanie. Gina,
All right.
did you have a question? Oh, Adam, question? Adam? I'm going to end the call, Adam, if I don't hear from you. All right, man. Peace out.